And hello all of my fellow nerds out there, this is Orgono Richie and welcome back once again to Rectifier in Bloom. So last time you guys probably remember that there was a bug in the game where you can't load your save file, so you have to start a new game and go all the way to where you were. I thought that was going to be the case for this part, but nope, me and another person's comment was actually heard. They actually fixed it. Thank God. So I did my best to speed run back to where I was, which is this spot, at least I think so. Anyways, you arrive not long after. You spend almost all your time reading the newest edition. This particular tale is nothing short of genius. Justice seeks a legendary key to an ancient treasure alongside a group of novice treasure hunters. If that wasn't bad enough, they're up against a nation's dictator and all his retainers and resources looking for the same key to expand his already great empire. All while avoiding prison time, the dangers of the jungle the key is said to be stored in, and the wrath of the dictator's military. Excuse me? You don't recognize the man, nor does it seem you are in his way. He just smiles at you. Yes? You continue to tear yourself away from the wonderful world you found yourself transported to. Yes? Hello, my name is Tonino Vivaldi. I'm a member of the Performers Guild here in the Diamond Assembly. That name sounded familiar. The Diamond Assembly. Has anyone ever told you that you're the spinning image of Ray Arcelli? You know, one of the love interests from the book you're reading? Were reading. It's honestly uncanny how much you look like him. You'd hope so. You modeled yourself after them, after all. I've heard it said. I'm a recruiter, and from the moment I saw you, I had to ask you to join our guild. Before you can answer, the gigs pay handsomely. He puts his hand to the side of his face, as if he was going to whisper a secret to you. And that's not even counting the fame. He titters. Of course, before you answer, you'd have to be rid of those garish accessories. You mean my earrings? Yes, it makes you look too effeminate. Ray Arcelli is the model of true masculinity after all, and you're handsome enough without them. Justice would prefer his men to be men after all. What would he know about what Justice likes? You modeled yourself after the first iterations of Ray Arcelli. He is perfection, his accessories included. He was sure no matter what he wore, he would be, and Justice would agree. Well, you know. He's laughing, but nothing he said has been humorous. There what? You look over to where Greer is standing. It's still a stone. Okay, I'm going to change Greer's voice again, by the way. Who are you? Their friend. Who are you? The one offering your friend an opportunity of a lifetime. Is that right? He looks over to you, the new novel still tight in your grip. From where I stood, it sounded like you were insulting how they look. It's just a minor adjustment. All actors have to. They clearly are interested. Am I wrong? You shake your head. Let him speak for himself. Without another word, Greer pulls back his coat to reveal his dagger to his hip. The crest of the blade unmistakable, a specter's eyes. The recruiter's eyes grow double their size. His legs starting to tremble, a bead of sweat falling down his face. You'll disappear one way or another. Though I'm sure you'd prefer your method over mine. Not another word escapes his lips as he dashes through the crowd, effectively disappearing. Are you alright? It was only an insult. Sometimes they can cut deeper than this blade. Don't listen to him, or anyone else for that matter. You are perfection. It's like scrutinizing a diamond. Flaws and all, it's a beauty to behold. Privilege. Do you understand? Yeah, I understand. I can definitely understand that. I understand, but I thought nothing of it. I've never been interested in acting, nor changing my appearance to do so. I'm glad. You can't improve upon perfection, after all. I thought no one was perfect. I may look the part, but I choose to look this way. I'm modeled after a character meant to be appealing. My mind is severely lacking, personality even more so. There is no world in which I manage to achieve perfection. Yeah, because that's because perfection is just an illusion. There's no such thing as true perfection. Like, everyone's gonna be imperfect one way or the other. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, everyone's good the way they are, imperfections and all. You're not wrong, but as you are, I can't think of how to improve it. I feel the same. Oh, you're just saying that. It's true. You're precious to me. I mean, we're friends. I suppose all friends see each other in much the same way. Yeah. Greer coughs, startling you. Maybe you should go back into the pharmacy and get him something. The last thing the crew needs is to catch a cold. Here's some soda. Go get that book so it can go. You don't need to hear anything else. The sun starts to set as you purchase the book. You hug it to your chest as the both of you find your way back to the docks. You know, I'm not even sure this is the place I grew up. It's much too behaved. They must have known an angel was coming to town. You shake your head. It's most likely because Greer's in town. If that recruiter's reaction was anything to go by, it's hard to believe this was the same man. You don't have much more time to think about it as you catch a glimpse of the ship in all its glory. Before we go back, this is for you. You got me a flower? As a thank you for accompanying me, and an apology for that idiot earlier. They're called golden hours. Oh, that's what the chapter is named after! This wasn't necessary. You already bought me this book. What's one more gift? It's just a flower. Did friends give each other flowers? You suppose they could, and evidently did. Thank you, really. I had a great time. Truly? You should say that again when you see Percy. You hold onto the flower and book while Greer carries the rest of the supplies you've acquired. Who knew something as simple as shopping could be so exhausting? You both make it back to the docks before the sun fully sets, the closure to a wonderful day upon you. Although the excitement of reading more of your book before bed helps ease the disappointment. They're back! He sounds so relieved. Slowly, the others approach, first Percy, followed closely by Ren and Leor, with Emil and Stiles lagging behind. Can I give you one last thing? You're not on instinct. What else could he possibly have gotten you? Oh! Your confusion only grows as he reaches for your hand and brings it closer to his lips. To his clothed lips. His eyes look up at yours. Wait, my name just turned green. I saw that. All you can do is blink. You're surprised by the sensation. He releases your hand and walks up to the dock like it was nothing. You'd probably always wondered why he'd done such a thing, and you had not seen the look of sheer terror on Percy's face. As petty as it was, you couldn't be mad about it. The stained semblance didn't last more than a minute in Glyph's grasp. Greer had a wonderful idea to get a recipe for Glyph at some point. Emil was left speechless. He tried to insist it was a waste of money and time, but Greer didn't let him talk himself down. Stiles was delayed. Greer managed to find it in the first place. He was skeptical on how Greer obtained it, but Greer only shrugged when asked. As per you, you stayed up the rest of the night reading your book, and you planned to read it many more on your way to the next destination. Your golden hour rose serving as a source of light in which to read them. the parting kiss still tingling in the back of your hand. You knew none of this would last forever, but the best things never did. Go back? I don't know what you mean by go back, but what do you mean by that? Like, no. Oh, I can only pick yes. Okay then. All right, so that's Greer's path done. Let's see. Okay, so we did Greer's route. So I don't know. I kind of want to do Lyra's route next, but I want to save it for another time because I actually did look at the Itch.io page and Lyra is a Scorpio just like me. Yeah, so yeah, a little fun fact, I'm a Scorpio. That's my my celestial sign. So I kind of want to do Stiles next. Also, I want to do Stiles because he kind of reminds me of a member of the Schnee family from Ruby. I don't know why, he just does. Okay, so Stiles. Are you sure? Details. Prominent doctor and former nobility of Jacqueline White. Yep, this definitely sounds like a White Schnee story. Stiles possesses a wit as sharp as a surgical knife, eloquent and equanimous. Stiles is no stranger to big word complimenting his collected demeanor. But beneath that exterior lies a kind, fragile nature ready to be unraveled. Huh? Yeah, sure. We'll go with Stiles' route next. Stiles' route. Fire and ice. Yep. I had a feeling. Frigid winds bring the smell of strife to the small town of Melanin. Wagons carried by shrunken carcasses that once were horses trundle through the gates in convoys, which, by the bitter eyes of onlookers, each wagon holds up a dozen wounded hauled from the nearby battlefield, all hoarded up so that there's no telling between the yet living and the already dead. They ain't even our boys, these ones, a grizzled man grumbles amidst the crowd. There's someone's boys, the woman replies, clutching her shawl tightly. Moochers, mutters a young man nearby. A wagon draws closer to the size of a wooden house with a weathered sign reading the Dancing Fox Inn. Freckled young face appears at the door. The boy looks around and quickly strides to the wagon. Having checked the new arrivals, the boyish face turns to the doorway and shouts, "Mama, there's another one here. I think he's breathing." The inn doorway produces 4 more figures. A woman in her late 30s, clad in bloodied linen, and 3 children with similarly stained clothes. "Let me look at him," the woman murmurs, leaning over to the injured soldier. "A chest wound? Looks serious. Fine, at least he's alive." She checks if the others are still breathing, but finds no life left in their bodies. She concludes with a commanding tone, "Take the boys and pull him inside. Dima, quickly. I'll go speak with Dr. Halgan." The nurse steps up to a brightly lit room, her eyes fixed on a tall person in snow-white attire, untouched by the blood. "Dr. Halgan, Please, what did I tell you?" Stiles, the nurse continues swiftly. "There's another soldier from the battlefield, still alive." Stiles stands amidst the swirl of medicinal instruments floating in the air, his gentle hand movements orchestrating them with a striking precision. "How many limbs?" "All intact," the nurse responds. "Injured in the upper chest. Here he is. Dima, boys, move faster, lay him down gently." The inn's main room converted hastily into a makeshift infirmary. It's filled with a pestilent smell mixed with that of herbs. Stiles' voice carries a calm authority as he directs the scene. You observe the room with silent attentiveness, ready to answer his command. Stiles approached the survivor, gently laid on the room's last free bed, his voice soft and gentle. "Can you speak your name?" The soldier's blue lips struggled to form a word. "Gavin." "Good. I shall now observe your injury, Gavin. Be calm and breathe deep." You see the breastplate unstrapped and the armor lift with a wave of Stiles' hand. Half of Gavin's arming doubled is dark red from the neck all the way down to the waist. A low moan is heard from the above floor, adding to the room's mournful scenery. Gavin winces. You look at the elegantly dressed man sitting in the corner of the room with the flute of his hips, and feel an idea strike you. I'd better ask Leora to play a tune and lighten the mood a bit, but what should I ask him? Pick an appropriate tune. Leora, would you play something you consider most fitting? This place requires a touch of solace. Consider my considering done, beauty. Leora grabs his flute and produces an abrupt note but stops that lingers for a bit. Finally, he settles on a contemplative melody that seems to envelop the injured in thought, carrying them away from their ache and misery. Wait, is Leora a bard? I mean, honestly, with that attire, it kind of makes sense that he'd be a bard. You shift your gaze to Stiles. His calm voice and gentle yet confident hand movements make you feel safe at his side. With a wave of his hand, Stiles lifts the doublet and scissors and guides the blades through the fabric from slight distance. As the scissors slice cleanly through, the cloth parts to reveal the stark, deep, round wound beneath. Just wound shape again, but this time, what caused it has to still be lodged within. How were you injured, Gavin? Tell us everything. Fire and noise, Gavin begins, his voice trembling. So much noise, like that of a cannon, but sharper. And there were no cannons, only brief flashes where the red stood. We couldn't grasp what was happening. Your breastplate is pierced through. It wasn't by a lance, by the looks of it. Was it a crossbow bolt of an unusual shape? Did you break the shaft off? No, I can't remember. Gavin's eyes dart in confusion as Stiles carefully cleans the wound, preparing for treatment. We've seen this in the others, the nurse adds. We've seen this in the others, the nurse adds. Arms and legs hold through. There are no shafts or anything. Correct. I didn't want to induce false memories. I had to ascertain for myself. Gavin turns his weary eyes to Stiles and asks, have you seen another soldier named Vivian? We fought together. Is he injured? To be candid, there were a few soldiers who couldn't spell their names today. Vivian has a crest-shaped birthmark on his cheek, Gavin notes, his eyes half closed. This may be a good sign. I do not see anyone with such an appearance today, Gavin. You look at the inn's walls, once adorned with the cheerful tapestries and paintings, now standing bare and somber, stripped along with the inn's counters, tables, and chairs, to make room for the wounded. Could Gavin have visited this inn before? It must be distressing for humans to see familiar places in such shape. I'd better cheer him up. It's out of my control. Hope says no news is best news. No news is the best news, don't you agree? Your strength draws from a peaceful mind, not a distressed one, Gavin. You trace the room with your hand. You can't see it from here, but there's a lion's share of soldiers who survived and are now en route to Melanin. The chances are on your side. Gavin pauses, considering your words. Perhaps, Gavin murmurs, trying to muster a smile. I need to focus on getting better for when Vivian does come back. His attempt at optimism is fragile but genuine, a flicker of hope in his tired eyes. Good, I sound almost human already. I didn't expect it to be harder than looking human. Gavin's tone lowers as he says, but still, what if Vivian's waiting for triage in a field hospital? Stiles gives you a short gesture with his hand. This time, he will answer. They're moving all the injured to Melanin. Jacklerians draw too near to field hospitals for us to leave people there. You're one of the last, I take it. Others will soon come on their own, rest assured. Having finished his inspection of the wound, Stiles turns back to the nurse with a request. Poppy essence, right away. When you meet his eyes, despite his sorrowful scene, you can see kindness and determination in them, sharing a slight strength as he beckons you with a nod. Richie, come help me out. Grab the retractor and hold the wound open for me, alright? Oh, no. I don't think I'd be able to do that in real life. Just, nope. I can't really deal with that. You do exactly as he instructs. Outside this infirmary, you couldn't imagine yourself in this position, having to comply with Stiles' authority so naturally. But still, this momentary change of roles tickles your mind. Gavin, you need to endure just a bit longer. Shift your attention away from your body. Evoke peaceful imagery with your mind's eye. Just relax and think of butterflies. Precisely. You guide the tool to Gavin's wound, and as gently as possible, yet that doesn't spare you from the soldier's moaning. All you hear is his voice and occasional notes from Stiles. Ready? Steady, little to your right. Good, I can see it now. Hold it like that. Stiles positions his fingers of grasping an invisible round object and begins to pull. The trickles of blood splatter onto his white garments. Behind you, the kids cling to the nurse's apron, their hands covering their ears. The woman's gaze is so heavy to fix on the floor. The wound yields. The small metal object becomes visible, emerging from the body, as if by itself, landing neatly in Stiles' hand. That's it, Richie. Very good. Sister, bandage him. Then apply pressure and herbs quickly before he exsanguinates. I've never heard that word before. You hear the nurse's boots stomping rapidly on the wooden floor as she brushes to bandage Gavin. Lyra stops playing his flute and looks at the object in Stiles' hand. The children gather closer to peek at it as well. Even other wounded soldiers, though those not asleep or unconscious, prop themselves on their elbows to see it. They freeze in a mix of fear and quiet admiration. Doctor, is it? You hear someone asking, but you can't discern who that is. It's what I feared the most. He holds a small metal object resembling a tiny cannonball. He got shot by a bullet! Flattened in one side from the impact. Stiles turned back to show the pellet to Gavin, but the soldier's chest rising and falling in rapid fits. This is what pierced through your armor and bored 2 inches deep into your body. But Jesus! Stiles pauses for a moment, considering everything. You feel he's been readying himself for this as he starts to speak, his voice louder than usual. This tiny pellet here marks a new era of enmity, more bloodshed and more intricate ways of killing each other. He speaks the next words in more muted tone. Not seeing people change in this lifetime, I surmise. Is this all we are capable of? Won't we ever stop? It's the Reds who should stop, Doctor. A loud soldier's voice cuts through the room. We are defending our land, the land of our forefathers, and hopefully the land of our children. The nurse's kids watch with wide eyes, unsure if these words are meant for them. Hey, do you even remember why whites fight reds? Another soldier's voice is heard. I recall my grandsire bragging about stomping down 60 red soldiers, and their general on top of that. Don't talk trash. I bet the Nephilim had a hand on this. Them winged vermin, adds a third one. Some soldiers not in agreement. I believe they're too illiterate for me to be mad at them. Inferior views on a superior cause. That's so human. Besides, we Nephilim weren't around anymore to pit these two states against each other. You and Stiles exchange a knowing glance, as if privy to a shared secret. Nephilim, Gavin's weak voice suddenly heard. Banished 200 years ago. Nothing to do with this. He continued as if speaking to himself. No, nothing at all. They would have helped all of us. Watch your mouth, boy, the same loud man heard again. Is heard again. You look at him with only to see one armed body with no legs, and a stark contrast to a thundering voice. You might be injured, the voice continues, but how do I know you're not one of them stuck here in secret? Or, what if that nurse over there is the doctor's wingman? Here's one of those wretches to disguise as us. Who wants their soul turned inside out when the Nephilim magic, boys? He concludes rhetorically. Good thinking. You seem educated. Nephilim do not harm. Oh wait, I just realized my character has a sly look on their face. You seem educated. But Gavin is right. The Nephilim haven't been around for nearly 2 centuries. The most vivid remnants of their culture are the architecture in the West and the Nephilim writings stored in the Angel Friend's Great Library. You must be a connoisseur of Nephilim heritage to be able to recognize one in front of you, I assume. The puzzled expression on the man's face is similar to that of a pig reading an astronomy book. You hear others, those capable of giggle. The man collects himself. It is only by those words alone that I suspect you now. If each educated person on Fae falls under your suspicion of being Nephilim, what kind of world do you think we're living in? I've crisscrossed all of the East, you hear me? He tries to lift his head high enough for you to see fully, but fails. I know every dog in every town. Tell me where you're from and we'll see what's what. Before you can get her mouth full of words to reply, a sharp sound interrupts you. Something crashes through the window, hurling towards you, and only thing you see is Stiles halting in midair with a flick of his hand. Frightened soldiers twitch and shriek. The one-armed, vociferous man falls from his bed, convulsing, and the nurse hurrying to aid him. Goddess dearest! Stiles rushes towards you, and a stone in the size of a lemon gripped in his hand. Beads of sweat dot his forehead. Beneath it, his eyes, wide open, fixed on yours. Are you injured? You look at the shards of glass scattered about, then at the stone Stiles holding. This was petrifying. No direct injuries, but the experience was quite petrifying. An echo of grim smile flickers across Stiles' face, disappearing as quickly as it appeared. The culprit must be trying to escape. Someone better go find him. Without a doubt. He turns to the nurse as he heads out. Don't let Gavin bleed out while I'm gone. We've lost too many already, and now this. As Stiles steps towards the exit, he flips the stone with his hand, revealing a small parchment secured to it with thin, resilient twine. He unwraps it to see a message scrawled in hasty, dark script that sends a chill down his spine. Ready for more? Ready spelled incorrectly, but probably Old English. A low murmur escapes his lips. This town is suffocating. Stiles eases through the back door, his eyes quickly adjusting to the light outside. The old man, his back hunched, rummages through wooden crates, not far from what was once a window. His movements were slow and deliberate. I beg your pardon. The old man scowls at Stiles and squints his worn-out eyes. Stiles lifts his hand, letting the stone catch a glint of sunlight before he gestures towards the gaping window. Have you seen who did it? Yes, the seamed face utters nonchalantly. There's a short pause hanging between. Stiles' eyebrow raises slowly. Then who might they be? The old man's shoulders lift and fall in a slow shrug. Well, if someone were settling a score with their fellow inebriate, I'd have to remind them that it's a tavern no more. It's a tavern no more. This place serves as a different purpose now. The old man lets out a quiet groan. Look, pal, I might still want to wet my whistle a bit, but that, the man nods to the window, wasn't my work. Swear to the goddess. Then whose work is that? We have 3 stories filled with wounded. Stiles gives a brief glance at the stone in his hand. Their conditions are dire enough even without this. The man sighs. Couldn't catch the face of the fella, but I would have handed him another stone myself if he were here. Your ne'er-do-wells are better off as feast for the crows, anyways. The world around Stiles pauses for a moment. The air thickens. Pardon me. You heard me, Sawbones, the man says as he carries on with rummaging. You view the scene from behind, unnoticed by either of them. My goodness, this man's lucky it's Stiles negotiating. I know someone who would have crushed that old skull with his stone right away. Indeed, Stiles remains stoic. He lets out a long exhale before resuming, his expression unchanged. Some of those soldiers were born in Malanin. I personally treated no less than 5 of those today. Perhaps at least they deserve your mercy. The man grumbles. Local or otherwise, I already told my gals they'd never find a fine groom in these parts, let alone in Malanin. Cursed soil. He sighs deeply. You better leave, Doctor. They say a Nephilim lurks somewhere in town. Reds, then Nephilim. The world starts turning inside out once again. You decide to step forward. Stiles is first to sense your approach, turning towards you. Alright, gotta go. Take care, the old man mutters as he shuffles away. Both of you follow him with your gazes. Stiles breaks the silence. You try to keep your voices as low as possible. So, yes, I heard everything. His expression turns wilted. What if we were to treat a red warrior, I wonder? Would stars come crashing down from this old man's fury alone? Not all humans are like that, Richie. I know it as well as you. I did not expect anything merrier from an eastern town, but confronting this personally, very unsettling. You sure there are still pockets of Nephilim faith here in the east? More than meets the eye, but not in Malanin, presumably, unless Percy converts them all before we leave. He better save his breath. Aelir's worship is too strong here. You're familiar with the concept of jest, right? Also termed a joke in more frivolous circles. You feel the air stuck in your throat from surprise. Look who's speaking! He assumes an edifying stance. Keep it subtle, and there you have it. Did he just wink at you? Fine. There are less cheerful things I must share with you. Here, look. He hands you the parchment with the ominous words inscribed on it. It's clearly a message from the one who tossed the stone. We have to hurry then. Gather everyone and leave Malanin. Correct. Lead the way, Richie. Let's start by finding Ren and Greer. The wagons stand silent. The bodies lay still, unattended, as if no one wants to disturb their sleep except for crows. A small furtive hand scares away the birds before reaching out with a motionless feet, but the sudden remark stops it. This body is still warm. Never dishonor a fallen warrior like that. The hand twitches and snaps back at a moment's notice. A round, grubby face looks back at the man with fear painted on it. Nah, be easy on him, Ren. I was just like that when I was young. You still are just like that, thief. Of course, you blue bloods always know best. Just wait and see. See, even a saint like you would be driven mad by the empty stomach and bare feet. I'm not a blue blood. You look blue-blooded enough for me. Despite the appearance. Ren frowns. Greer catches a glimpse of a small, dirty toes peeking out from under the wagon. There are some are tiny, others are larger, but all unmistakably the feet of children. You urchins already form a queue to snatch at their boots. He produces a high, appreciative whistle, as a myriad of big, cautious eyes appear from under the wagon. Today's a big day, right, kiddos? You just want to get dressed up for masquerade. I take it? Greer? We'll be there too. Just look at my friend. He comes fully prepared. Without thinking twice, Greer starts untying laces and easing off the boots of the fallen before passing them to the wide-eyed kids huddled nearby. These are quite big for you, don't you think? Let's see what we can find. Greer, you unscrupulous animal. Step back. I'll buy them boots myself. Greer keeps them with a wily grin on his face. Why bother? I gather the stiffs would manage without the footwear now. You blasted fiend! A momentary burst of rage with fists tightly clenched, Ren's sizable frame barrels towards Greer. Ren, Greer, cease this at once! The frame's motion holds abruptly. Ren turns towards you, and his face cooling down from anger to timidity. Richie, I apologize. I lost my temper. He steps forward with a downward gaze, kneeling before you, his shoulders hunched and head bowed deeply. No need for that. Don't kneel, Ren. Let your head do the thinking next time, not your fists. Stand up. Ren promptly regains his proud stance, but that doesn't save him from Greer's victorious stare. Greer, is everything fine between you two? He waves his hand with an innocent air about him. It wasn't me, Richie. Ren started it. Of course. You share a glance with Stiles, getting the impression your thoughts match. Teenagers. You don't say. We'll touch up on that later. Now listen up, everyone. We have to assemble the others and quickly. Ren, Greer, you two go find Percy. He must be somewhere in town. I hope we won't get in trouble. Glyph and Emil are in the woods, hiding. Stills and I will go and pack our belongings in the infirmary, and then we'll all set out once Stills is finished with the injured. And don't you dare start another brawl like that! Both Ren and Greer are not in agreement, but you notice an unspoken question in Ren's eyes. You signal him to speak his thoughts. Leaving so quickly? What's the matter? Like a patriot's advancing? Stills lifts his arm in a hushing gesture. Keep your voice down. No, Red Jackalarians are stalled for now. Tillis has dispatched the White Blades, one must assume. I know this lot. The scar still aches. And I remember stitching it up, but... Stills points at the children who've been listening closely all this time. Their boots 2 sizes too big. What's this? Ren lights up instantly. These are the gutter snipes Greer indulges. Greer replies with a smug look on his face. These are my mentees. A partial sigh escapes Stills. Very well, collect yourselves, you all. We must prepare for the worst. He extends his hand to reveal a rough stone, then pulls a crumpled piece of parchment from his robes. The sweet couple listens closely as Stills recounts the events, of their eyes widening with each word spoken. These are no mere hooligans. The one who did this was literate enough to jot these melon words down. Things are turning sour here, and I imagine the Melanin folk would be so airheaded. and they keep mentioning a certain Nephilim skulking about in Melanin. You cast a cautious glance at the children, whose curious eyes absorbed every word as they huddled together. Naturally, I have no idea who they're talking about, but we are only 8 people, and Melanin is home to 10,000 souls. There's a brief pause before Greer shrugs off the pensive expression and concludes. Off to jump ship, then. The familiar pungent smell of blood mingled with herbs greets you as you step into the infirmary. In this fairly cramped space, the joy of survival and the raw agony of pain blend into the intricate tapestry of emotions you never experienced in your home plane of Astra Amaya. You take a few moments to observe the scenery in a new set of eyes. The kids dart between the beds with water bowls and blood-stained bandages, trying to keep quiet but still bursting into occasional chuckles after an awkward move. Your gaze drifts to 2 nurses chatting about some sherbet recipe. One of them wipes her forehead with a stained hand, leaving an oblong red mark across her skin. The other keeps smiling, completely oblivious to it. As you and Stiles venture deeper into the room, your eyes settle on a slender figure standing by Gavin's bed. The man, clad in a tattered arming doublet, seems out of place amongst the wounded. He and Gavin are holding hands. Stiles lips from a subdued smile as he jokingly addresses both them and the nurses at once. New patients, I surmise? The guest turns his face to Stiles, revealing a birthmark on his cheek shaped like a crescent moon. It's Vivian! You notice the narrow, watery line crossing it. Are you Vivian? I am, the soldier responds, modestly, wiping his face with a sleeve of his good hand. The one with not swaddled in a bandage. He's glancing around at the people in the room. Who can I thank for helping Gavin? You pat Stiles on the shoulder. It's this man here, the hero of Melanin. Soldiers with minor wounds lying around cheer in agreement. Theirs only muster frail smiles. Stiles lowers his gaze and smiles back. You are the true heroes of Melanin, soldiers. To survive despite the impossible odds is a triumph in itself. One of the wounded raises his good hand in a gesture as if holding a beer mug. He shouts, "For Dr. Stiles and Richie." Stiles and Richie. The others follow his example, except for one-armed man you had an intense exchange with. This one emits the wildest snores imaginable, but something tells you he's only pretending to sleep. Stiles glances your way. See, they celebrate your efforts too. I guess you were somewhat useful after all. You snicker and kick him lightly. You goober. Stiles turns to stare at Vivian. We're glad you're here. Gavin needed you. You want to add some merry words yourself before you start. A labored noise and clunking came from the hallway near the main entrance, catches your attention. Let's go see what's wrong. A storm of rusty pitchforks, twisted hose, and rotten teeth breaks inside. You can feel the rage pervading the air around you as the armed townsfolk mob enters the building, yelling and cursing. You see faces contorted with anger, and some of them, to your surprise, are wearing animal hides and makeshift masks with a feral appearance that cover their faces. Some of them have painted themselves red and attach horns to gain a somewhat demonic look. You hear a familiar voice from the crowd. Richie. Ren? Somewhat hard to notice you there. Richie, I'm here too. We did what you asked, more or less. 2 try to push through the dense crowd, but are held back. Not so fast, a voice from the mob is heard. What's happening? That's what we wanted to ask you, maggot, says a burly man, taking a step down from the crowd. Why don't we just calmly discuss this, okay? Not a place for a ball, go drink somewhere else. Not a place for a brawl. Your group looks formidable enough, but this is hardly a place for skirmishes. There are 8 dozen wounded in this building. They need rest. Color me surprised. Another dweeb, a voice from the mob is heard. Let's get it over with already. We've come here for answers. We've come here for answers, the burly man suits the gathering. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Show 'em, boys, he orders. You see another familiar face emerge from the crowd's belly. A man in cleric robes with a cunning grin, unmistakably Percy. Hello, Richie, Stiles, Leor. How's it going? Percy. Percy. This weasel here dared to preach his Nephilim filth he calls faith to our lads. The burly man roars. We quickly got our hands on him, but then his friends showed up. The man sneers as he continues. They told us to visit the tavern you turned into a cannon fodder storage. Our tavern. He produces a wooden splinter and lights its tip with a torch. You have until this splinter burns out to explain everything. Otherwise you'll be kindly asked to leave. Some of you, at least, he concludes, his words accompanied by a dozen guttural titters. Some of you, you're on thin ice. Percy's just a bad poser. You know what? You're on thin ice, buddy. You see anger solidify in the crowd's eyes as they await your reaction, eager to tear you apart if you so much as breathe in their direction the wrong way. You foul scum. A sudden sound shatters the room, deafening you and every other living soul nearby. You dare come here, where we care for the wounded and threaten violence? What's next? Will you rampage through the building and throw the maimed like trash and set tables back up, only to spew nonsense and drink until you're sprawled on the floor, wallowing in your own piss? You catch a glimpse of the burning splinter in the man's hand, now hanging limply. The flame has just begun to nibble at its tip. Go ahead and make your move, and remember, we're taking some of you with us to the afterlife, and don't fool yourselves into thinking it couldn't be you. The men and women bleeding out here and all across the town nearly died protecting you morons. Now either of you move your shit away from here or on your own until this splinter burns out, or you'll be kindly asked to leave. Some of you, at least. You look at the splinter again. It's only burned halfway through. A drop of saliva lands directly on the flame, putting out instantly. You wipe your mouth with a swift, resolute motion. It's out. If you close your eyes, you might believe you were the one in the Solaris desert. The room feels that heated and barren. No sound, no nothing. Silence pervades, and time seems to stand still. Each brute stares at you in the eye, mouth agape. Even the feral masks on the faces seem droopy. And give us back this Percy, the dork. We'll deal with him ourselves. After what seems like an endless pause, their figures start to unfreeze. You see their senses coming back to them slowly. Those of the men who stood near the exit have already faded from view. The room empties by the minute. Before long, only you and your group remains. Percy's face is bright red, his cheeks puffed, and he clearly tries his best not to blow to shreds. Greer, Ren, and Leor look at you with exalted eyes, ready to burst into applause. You gaze back at Stiles to see a swarm of sharp medicinal instruments suspended in the air around him, all pointed towards where the mob stood just moments ago. His palms are raised, directing them. He gives you a smirk where you've never seen his face before. With your brains and my brawn. With the storm abated, you finally free yourself to check up on Gavin and Vivian. As you leave, you notice Leor slacken his pace as if to wait for Ren to catch up with him. Ren, honey, good to see you're safe and sound. Need a back rub? Leor winks at him. Leor, not now. But we live in the now. Now is always the best time. Leor Lucanus, I am dead serious. Adamant. I like it when you're adamant. Ugh. Fine, back to music. You know where to find me. Much to my chagrin. Ren, you owe me 33 silver coins straight. When betting on Percy, always consider the 5 worst possible outcomes, and choose the worst one out of them, and you won't lose a coin. Fine. Let bygones be bygones in the name of goddess. It's not like I'm making it habitual, you know. You shouldn't even think of doing it in the first place. Shush. Shush. Stiles takes a moment to address everyone in the room. Sorry for that. Nothing to worry about. Just a few locals with the clouded minds. You shift your gaze to from Stiles to Gavin. Noting his pale face and bloody bandage, Vivian stands at his side, holding his hand. It's clear that Gavin is too weak to hold Vivian's in return. You also notice them looking at Percy with their eyes wide open. They try to conceal it as you come closer. Doctor, may I... Gavin tries to speak before realizing he can't finish his sentence. Stiles promptly asks the boy standing nearby to fetch some water. I have a small wish, if I may, Gavin whispers, looking at Vivian pleadingly. Vivian takes over, speaking in Gavin's stead, his voice low. He wants to visit his family's resting place at the town cemetery and pay his respects. I'm no fool, Doctor, Gavin mutters. Look at me. I still have time, but I don't wish to waste it away. Stiles' eyes spark with a hue of uncertainty. I see. Gavin, I won't try to dissuade you, but at least have to propound, cauterizing the wound. This means we'll take a heated iron rod and sear. That would kill him, Vivian exclaims. Other injured turn to the voice. You have a capable group, Vivian nods at Ren and others as they talk to one of the wounded soldiers. Please help us. Stiles throws a heavy stare at you. Your call. You look at the trio prettily. Give me a few moments to talk this over with Stiles. You signal to the others with a discreet gesture. Ren, Greer, get the horses ready. Consider it done, Richie. Setting a course for the pony docks. Come with me, Richie. I know a safe place to speak. You find yourself in a tight, dimly lit space. The air is thick with the rich aroma of aged wood and fermenting hops. Barrels of various sizes are stacked neatly along the rough wooden walls, their surfaces worn smoothly by the years of handling. Cobwebs cling to the corners of the basement, disturbed only by the armor and weapons thrown here to be stored until the wounded recover. Stiles lights a candle and carefully checks every corner of the room, making sure no one is here to eavesdrop. We're alone. He pauses, his gaze lingering on the surroundings before he settles into on one of the barrels. You already know what I'm about to say, Richie. At times, my medical oath requires more from me than I'm ready to give. But this town, these people, the constant war and shifting borders have driven them to the brink of lunacy. You've seen it yourself. He stops it to evaluate the moment and looks at you straight in the eyes, and gleams a candle flame dancing on his left cheek. A moment later, he speaks in a grave tone. Helping Gavin is beyond dangerous. We shall not do that. He waits patiently, allowing you time to fully absorb it. Glyph and Emil wait outside the tavern. Wait outside the town. Neither you nor both of them are welcome here if the folks see who you really are. Each added moment of unwanted attention might be fatal. You find yourself caught in a dilemma. You run your eyes over Stiles' garments and the candle, the barrels, and the armor as if those could somehow yield the answers you seek. At any rate, in your stream of thought, Gavin and Vivian are mere humans. Remember what they taught you about the value of a man's life? Don't do this to me, Stiles. Not now. Whose side are you on even? On yours. Under different circumstances, I would have been the first to help them, but not here. You have a mission, remember? Mine is complete. It's a short hike from here to Volgan. We can set out right away and plan our next steps there. The images of children in bloodied shirts and maimed bodies, and the two soldiers holding hands spring to life in your mind, like a cruel memento. You reach out to Stiles' arm instinctively, grabbing it with a gentle squeeze. You draw a deep breath and fire off an exhale. We're doing it. Richie, listen. He lowers his gaze reluctantly, clutching your hand in response. Listen to me very carefully now, Richie. His words are molten steel, very slow and heavy. He pierces you with his blue eyes. I can bear healing the thousands of grievous wounds and burying hundreds of soldiers. This is my burden as a doctor. He pauses deliberately between the words without breaking his gaze. But if I fail to foresee something baleful happening to... He tries to gather the ever-escaping words as he pushes the certain treacherous thought under. Your mission is too important. A gentle hug stops in mid-speech. As your chin rests in his shoulder, your words become somewhat muffled and comical, even though the occasion requires the opposite. Don't finish. I get you, Stiles. I get you. Still determined to do this. Is that it? We'll keep a sharp eye. We'll be alert and ready, choosing the safest route and treading as carefully as one possibly can. There's no such thing as paying respects to the dead in Nephilim culture, and the human afterlife is surely much different from what any of you imagine. But I am no stranger to profound wishes. Gavin has one, and I'd be glad if I had someone to fulfill my dying wish. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't go back on your friend's dying wish, would you? I wouldn't. You escape the embrace gently, but still hold Stiles' hand, careful not to sever the bond too abruptly. If there's something to learn from humans, it's humanity. Stiles' thoughtful gaze is cast downward, a fleeting sad smile on his face. Right. Good. It's time to catch up with the others. You let go of his hand and head for the door. Stiles keeps near. The fresh melanin air fills your lungs. It is well past midday, and the townspeople bustle about their business. The wagons are gone, leaving behind only moist patches of sand and dark red seeping through. You have grown fond of the humans' way of life, how they arrange it, despite the shakiness of their homes, and the overall down-to-earth simplicity unimaginable in Astra Emia. Your thoughts drift to Angelfront, the capital of the West. You've always dreamed of visiting the city that your kin built side by side with mankind. You wonder how it looks now, so many years after the schism inhabited solely by humans. Your focus shifts as two figures emerge from around the corner. The duo approaching are Ren and Greer, both sporting dispirited looks. What's up, guys? I barely recall sending you out for the horses. Greer extends his arm to hand you something. You look closer to see he is holding a bloody reins. The horses stabbed to death, bloodless. All of them? Only ours. The words land like a bag of bricks. Come on, Rectifier, time for some quick wits. Okay, this is actually a very long chapter as far as I can tell, so I think I'm gonna leave this episode here for now and finish it later. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason.